Hey gang, today we're going to get our shred out a bit and we're going to learn a very fast repeating lick, and the trick on this one is just to practice it and to get it in time, and that's about it. Alright, so I'll show you what the lick is and we'll talk through it in just a sec. Alright gang, let's go over this note for note. Before we do, you can download the tab from the link in the description below. It's going to make your life a little bit easier. And we're playing this over the following progressions, just basically going from an E to an A. Alright, but you can play this over a bluesy sort of progression. Works great for that as well. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing this out of the E minor pentatonic at the 12th fret, right? So at that 12th position. And the way I think of this is it's a combination of Led Zeppelin, or of Chuck Berry and Led Zeppelin. Let me play the whole lick first and then we'll break it down. So here we go. A little bit slower. Kind of hard to play it so slowly. All right, so as I was saying, I think it's kind of a combination of Chuck Berry and Led Zeppelin. So the Chuck Berry, I'm thinking of the standard Chuck Berry lick where on the 3rd string you're going to bend, in this case on the 14th fret, a whole step bend, you know, that kind of thing. And so we're going to bend on the 14th a whole step bend. And then instead of playing the Chuck Berry lick like this, or something, we're simply going to play, we're going to skip a string and play the 1st string on the 12th. So like this. And then we're going to come back down on the 2nd string, 15, pull off to 12. So that's the first part. All right. The second part is what I call Led Zeppelin, and it's just this. Alright, so it's basically a pull-off on the first 2 strings, 15 to 12, and 15 to 12 on the 2nd. 15 to 12 on the 1st, 15 to 12 on the 2nd. Okay? And then the lick repeats. So it's Chuck Berry, Led Zeppelin. Chuck Berry, Led Zeppelin. Alright? So that's basically it. All right, so, and then obviously repeats a lot. So what are some of the keys to doing this? Now you have the whole lick. That's basically it. The only thing is at the end, you got to figure out a way to come out of it. The way I came out of it was this bend on the 15th. Kind of an AC/DC sort of bend. Bend on the 15th on the 2nd, a whole step. And then give it vibrato, hit the 15th on the 1st, and hit the 15th on the 2nd, come down. That. All right. So, what are some tips on doing this? Well, first of all, you've got to get the timing right. The way that I do it is I hesitate a little bit on the first one. As you were hearing, I think in the example that I started with, you hesitate a little bit on the first one, and then you kind of got to get it like clockwork on the rest of them. So. You hear how the bend on the first one is a little bit longer? Let that linger out a bit, and it's going to sound better. Okay, so that's one thing you can work on. Let that linger a little bit on that first bend. Another thing that's kind of important is to not just is to really give it a bend. So when I get lazy, it sometimes sounds like this. And that doesn't sound as good. You really want to give it a bend. And that's hard to do. It takes some practice. Okay, the last thing that I can tell you is, or the penultimate thing I can tell you, the second from last thing I can tell you, is that picking, I hear a lot of people say picking really matters on this one. I don't know. I find that it's fast, that I can get it pretty fast without having to resort to any sort of weird picking. I do this completely with alternate picking. So I pick down on the bend, up on the first string, and then I alternate. That's a pull off, remember. And then up and down, down. And then I just repeat. Now, I think the most important thing is to think about how you want to get that bend in. All right? The key to it is practice it very, very slowly, over and over until you are comfortable with it, and it just kind of happens like clockwork, right? Okay, so let me give you an example of that. So we'll play it even half speed. It's going to be kind of fast, so really do start it out slowly. So this is half speed at most. Here we go. Here's my first bend. All right. And the cool thing about it is you can end it however you want, but do think about how you want to come out of that ending. So it's a great lick to throw in when you want to grab the audience's attention a little bit. It sounds really fast. And let me show you, even at sort of 3/4 speed, it's going to sound pretty fast. So this is at around 3/4 speed, and you'll see it's going to sound like a fast lick. So that's kind of a good attention grabber. Even in a slower type of bluesy song, it can sound pretty impressive. Well, there you go. A snazzy repeating lick that you can get down. It will take a little bit of work and practice, but guarantee you'll get it. All right. Till next time, we'll see you on down the road.